Hey y'all, what's up and welcome back to my channel. As you can tell by today's title, I will be talking about my life after college. Some of the things that I've experienced and things that made me kind of be like, well, okay. But yeah, so today I will be talking about those things. And I know what you're thinking. You may be thinking like, well, why did you choose to talk about these things now? A year later. It's been a full year since I graduated, but I just felt like I waited for things to like get better. Now I'm in a good place, but I wasn't always like in a good place like after graduating. Long story short. So the first thing that I would like to talk about is the transitioning phase. Going from like having a set schedule, your classes were set at a certain time or whatever. You had deadlines to do stuff, all of that. Transitioning to after college, most of us probably didn't have a time period where like, oh, like I gotta start working, or like I'm set to have a job next month or something like that. I was not one of those lucky people. Graduating from college and going into a entry-level position or even an associate's position or anything like that, into the corporate world or the professional world. I was not one of those people at all. So mainly like just recently, I started writing in my planner like things that I would want to do for the day or tasks that I wanted to do for the week, and like I go through that list each day of the week and I choose things from that list to do. That made me a better productive person. I would say even better than when I was in college. So does that make sense? But yeah, like that's how I was. So yeah, that phase from going to having a schedule to not having a schedule or whatever, post-grad, it really got to me. And not having a set schedule, it made my mind, like I had so many thoughts running through my mind. Even with the pandemic that we're finally breaking through, like my mind would just constantly be racing, and in order to like stop those thoughts, I kind of had to figure out a schedule and keep myself busy and like occupied and things like that. And I'm just now finding like a good schedule to like, work with or whatever. So that's good. And if you don't have a planner by now, I highly recommend you getting one because it will help out a lot, in my opinion. It helps me a lot. Another thing like transitioning from college to now is that I have so many interests and so many passions, and I'm narrowing down more on the things that I really have an interest in, and getting deeper into those things and taking different classes on those things. However, the classes are like on my own time. Like I don't have to attend the class at this time and that time or whatever. So I'm good on that. The next thing that I want to talk about is getting into the professional world. I applied to so many like entry-level marketing, graphic design jobs, PR jobs, all of those, right? And most of them I would get no response. Some of them say like, oh, like we decided to go with someone else or whatever. But keep in mind, like when I graduated, before I graduated, I was interviewing for like internships in marketing and PR and all of that, right? So some of those got canceled. Others, they did not let me know anything, or they decided to go with someone else. So on top of that, like that set me even a little bit farther behind, but I knew like then and there that I should have applied to internships while like before my sophomore year of college or like junior year of college. So I kind of regretted it at that point. So my advice, I guess, to someone else would be to don't be afraid to put yourself out there earlier than what you think. Because here I am now, like I'm just now getting some of the positions and opportunities that I want, but you have to be more than willing enough to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid of things and all of that, just to get your foot even in the door. I pretty much thought like it would be easier for me if I had an internship like during my sophomore or junior year of college, because like I always think about that, and I see that to be true even more now because I'm still struggling trying to get the jobs that I want. So another phase that I went through, it was literally like a couple of weeks after graduation. I was like, well, since I got so much graduation money, it was some type of loan that they gave us because of the pandemic at the end of the year through the college. So it wasn't a loan. You could call it a loan, I guess. It was free money. Like, you didn't have to pay it back or anything. But I was debating on moving. Like, should I move? Should I just go ahead and pack up and go? And I even regretted that. I was very stubborn. Those of you that don't know, I have a boyfriend of 6 years. I have a dog with him, but yeah, I just didn't want to. I wanted to move because of career opportunities, but I didn't want to move because I didn't want to be separated from my boyfriend. And I know that may seem like WTF, but it's a lot to process. Debating on moving, and I decided not to move because I was like, okay, like I just find an opportunity less than of what I want and maybe get a regular job and then save up and move and all this and that. Like, it was so many thoughts going through my head at the time, but yeah, I tried to get a regular job. I ended up suffering because I did not like it whatsoever. I knew that that was something that I didn't want to do. There were days that were okay, and there were days that were just absolutely horrible. And when you figure out like a job is doing you way more harm, like you would think about it when you got home, or even at the end of the day, you like I gotta go back to that job. It was very hard for me to get through, so I ended up quitting that position and finding other opportunities, but I didn't find those opportunities until like the beginning of this year. Okay, so after that process, I basically came to like a realization that like, hey, like these are my real interests, these are my actual passions. Like, why won't I just take like a seminar from someone and get as much information as I could and maybe start freelancing? So that's kind of where I'm at right now, what I'm doing. However, I've started another thing and I'm trying to work on that as well. So yeah, but I have had projects here and there with other people, and with the nonprofit that I work for as well. So I'm basically in a good place right now. Another thing is to network as much as you could and build relationships and connections with people that are in some of the companies that you want to work for or that you aspire to work for. But yeah, so build connections with companies that you aspire to work for and work with and all of that, if you choose to go that route. However, I was never that type of person to, connect and fake talk, I guess is what you would call it. Now, you can make real genuine connections, yes, of course, but I never wanted to get opportunities from someone basically like just hand it to you. Like, I was never that type of person, and now being where I am now, I feel like, hey, like that's what I'm doing, but in the sense of me fighting for things myself. I also realized that maybe the corporate world is not meant for me because of the type of person that I am. That's just my opinion. Another thing that I would suggest is getting a mentor, because they could have opportunities on hand for you, or get you in touch with someone that knows of opportunities, so that's always good to have. I kind of have a mentor now, I guess you could say, pushing me in the right direction and checking up on me and knowing my interests and things like that. So I highly recommend getting a mentor if you haven't already. Honestly, I would say get one while you're in college still. Like, yeah, freshman year of college, get a mentor if you can. Or even someone that just, not necessarily keeps you in check, but like checks up on you rather, and get a feel of what you want in life, because it will help. Another thing that I have faced is like people that are really close to me trying to get me to either get another degree or get a certificate of some sort in something that I have no interest doing. I still feel like the career choice that I chose is in high demand. Like the stuff that I want to do, I feel like it's still in high demand. I just have to search harder and get certified in those things that I want and in which I'm working on now. So another thumbs up, but yeah, I look back and I still feel like I've come a long way from a year ago, and I'm proud of that. Pretty much the last thing that I want to leave with you all is that you may see your colleagues like doing better than you, doing greater things, or working in a bigger facility or with a higher up company. Don't get discouraged, because know that they're probably in a situation worse than you, or like they're doing things just for the money and not for the passion that they have things for. So if you're a passion-driven career person like I am, I would just say to try to get a certificate in something that you really have a passion for. Not even one certificate, maybe 2 or 3 that are high in demand, because that's another thing. Like, not only do companies look for internships, but they look for certifications and things that you're trying to get a career in as well, and experience, of course. So yeah, freelancing is, I would say, not bad. Like, I have done a couple of projects and things, so I would say go for it. But yeah, and another thing, well, I guess the last thing is that you gotta understand that your people may see you as competition. So like, don't look for handouts or anything like that, even from your colleagues, your past colleagues that you had before. You're gonna feel like they forgot about you, or whatever, or that they don't care, but just feel free to reach out to them, like if you feel the need to or whatever. There's nothing wrong with that or anything like that. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Hope I left some good tips and advice, or if you have any advice for me, leave them in the comments. Let me know what you think, because I'm always open to other people's opinions and things like that. And yeah, let me know like what other types of videos you all want to see from me. That is all, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye guys.